My work is not yet done is the name of the game. And we've gone from joyful and silly to creepy. Right. Citadel. I like the menu screen is like a computer BIOS. This neat color palette. Interesting. With neat. My work is not yet done. Starting. Ooh. Run level 3. Last login. Day 112. You need not die today. Ooh. The left thumbstick to direct the subject. Oh, there we are. We are a little person there. The left trigger to direct the subject to collect observations. Pass the cursor over objects interest in the environment. Oh, I see. Okay. How do we use keyboard mouse controls? Right, it's mount buttoned. Ah, okay. Interesting. Ah, from up here down to the gorge floor is nearly 200-meter drop straight down, uninterrupted. I stood there for what felt like hours, trying to imagine what was going on in Rebecca's head at the moment. I think I was too hard on her, but at the end, didn't take her fear seriously enough. But if we had really left that night, we might have met an even worse fate. I don't know. I should have stayed awake. There's no way of knowing, either now nor then. There is no one out there, I'm sure of it. I searched as best I could in vain. It's too far down, the vegetation too thick, and to be able to make out anything beneath. But even if I could, what could I actually do? There's no way down there that's survivable. Without a body, though, they won't be able to consecrate her. There's no proof that she's dead. It remains to recover. There's no proof that she's alive either. She's gone. That's all I know. I don't know anything. A tower of stone stacked atop one another, whose seemingly precarious assembly conceals an impeccable sense of balance and integrity. Without being able to locate a body, and believe me, I tried, I can't conclude for certain if R is actually dead. But still, I fail to see any other possible interpretation that doesn't immediately spiral into the realm of the conspiratorial. All of this is unmistakably hers. Clothes, boots, ID, the handwriting, the signature on the note. The sight is so recent that somehow it's almost as if I can feel her presence still lingering. There's a sense of calm, unwavering deliberation present in both the construction of the cairn and the presentation of its surrounding contents. It doesn't seem as if she made this choice suddenly, or in an unsettled state of mind. How neatly the clothes have been folded, the way her card and her note were arranged so that I could not have missed them or mistaken the intent behind their placement. She must have brought this dress with her as part of her personals. I've never seen it before. Did she wear it in defiance or acceptance of her fate? Was this a premeditated choice, the terminal surfacing of a process I had failed to notice in time? Hi. It's customary to disassemble each cairn you build before you leave, and to return the stones to where you found them. I wonder why she left it standing. It feels like an act of revenge, almost, although I don't know why it feels that way, or against what, or whom. I can't bring myself to scatter it apart. At the very least, though, I should probably bring her ID back, so there's some trace of her in the record. And this note she left me, too. Our work is done. Why wait? Back to the gorge. This place used to be a pretty popular vacation spot for hikers and campers before it got soured by hurricanes. There used to be a pretty infamous 1,000-step descent. A concomitant descent to the gorge floor. Every brochure we came across during prep testified to the fact that it was particularly a sight to behold in the autumn. It's not difficult to imagine even now. I can still see the appeal of it. I wish I could have come here in the different circumstances. After the DCV shut it down from public access, the CPC offered to take over maintenance of the facilities in an area exchange to be in exchange to being granted the right to set up a long-term research installation on the old campgrounds overlooking the gorge. On paper, the purpose of the mission was to monitor the flow of the river and upkeep uh, of the hydroelectric plant. Downstream, it's unclear whether they were aware at the time of the acquisition of the real reason behind the DCV cordon. But seeing as they established an additional fortified station less than a year into the 10-year tenure, it seems they figured it out pretty quickly. EF or enter to direct the subject or interact with nearby objects. Our work is finished. Why wait? ISAC. The Imperial Sovereign Authority of Carcosa. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Record of citizenship. Common name Rebecca. Identity number CCA0123963357. Barcode. Clearance 4. Date of birth. Negative 2 days Q3. Height 163. Eye, bro. Bro, eyes. Bro, your eyes. Bro, your eyes. VCS NP MED 03 Nation origin. The Imperial Sovereign Authority of Carcosa Central. Date issued Q1 D2224. This document. Okay. There's not much more I can do at this point. I should start heading back to the station soon. Can control this rumbling. Let me use the keyboard and mouse because it seems easier that way. Pretty. I'm going to turn the volume up some, so y'all can hear this better. Because it's a very quiet game. There's nothing to pick up, it seems like. I don't think the rumbles indicate anything other than maybe rough terrain. It's hard to make out. We can't go back. Huh. Let's go down. Let's go south. Rumbling a lot. Yeah, maybe I'll hold the controller. We'll see. Yeah, start. Wait. Interesting. Very light rumble. We set up a camera to trap one of those trees a while back. Or we set up a camera trap on one of those trees a while back. I should pull the data from it while I'm here. See if it picked up Reb on our way. Reb. Maybe equip a tool. It's raining. pointing to ensure proper water resistance. Be sure both door latches are firmly closed. Oh. You don't need to mess with that. That's not to mess with that. Access port. Infinite flash memory. Back to camera. Remove the panel first. Can't see. Cleared up. Right click. Okay. Can I get the tool back out, or is it done? Hmm. Anything here? Oh, the A button wipes her face off. Oh. Right bumper looks at our watch. Going by apparently quickly. I just can keep walking. I don't know how to view the thing that I picked up, though. Liking the rain, though. Very creative sounding. Nice. Very nice. It's gonna get dark pretty soon. I should head back. Where am I heading back to? Oh, the rain stopped. Oh, something. tiles. I won't lie, the choice to tile so extensively down here instead of around the actual ERP itself remains one of the more baffling, if ever ultimately benign, curiosities to be encountered. If only just for the sake of saving some time having to scrub out tracks of mud so frequently. Steps. Set of steps leading down to the entrance of the maintenance bunker. They were constructed presumably at the same time as the station itself, and yet the level of complete degradation and wear relative to the quality of materials used in their construction seems to suggest that they've been here far longer than is logically possible. Elle, in one of her last moments of apparent sanity, claimed to have encountered a nearly identical set of steps in pristine condition one morning while servicing an air quality monitor. As far as we can tell, it was the event that singularly precipitated her decline into complete madness. We went out and searched for hours around where she reported to have encountered it. To date, none of us were able to corroborate her account or identify the precise location of her bizarre encounter. Hmm. Outpost. Of all the shacks and ditches I've had the privilege of calling a home, I'd say this one probably falls a bit more on the upscale end. Well, here's some home. Well, here's home. Or at least as close as I'll get to one out here. Still enough light left to be able to take one more look around just in case I miss something. I doubt it'll make much difference, but I don't know. I feel like I have to do something. Maybe I should just call it and go get some rest. God only knows how much harder things are going to get from here on out. Module initialized. User identified. I'm not showering with my clothes on. Yep. Ammo poster. Algorithm for safe house entry and decontamination. Entry hot. Notification of entry request. Activate initial entry sterilization protocol. Initial triage. Is there life-threatening condition? Yes. Consider life-saving treatment and or medications. No. Decontamination required? Yes. Subject to decontamination area. Decontamination triage. Assisted decontamination. Undress subject. Undress self. Personnel secures belongings. Preserves evidence. Use standard shower unit. Apply external shower system. Decontamination adequate. No. Repeat decontamination in secondary unit if possible. Yes. No. Subject treatment area. Cold zone. Redress subject with clean covering. Successful entry. Post entry. Process belongings. Process evidence. Administer CPBE4. General guidelines for decontamination. Activate the external decontamination system and, if necessary, assemble the designated decontamination team and site security personnel. Strip completely and place all clothing items and personal belongings in an approved sterilization bin that can be isolated to prevent continuous exposure. Enter the decontamination shower and begin washdown procedure. Wash all areas of the body thoroughly using soap with good surfactant properties and water, preferably tepid, to improve compliance. This should include copious rinsing. Carefully inspect and evaluate the effectiveness of decontamination. If adequate, disengage decontamination sequence and prepare for entry. If inadequate, return to the shower area and repeat cleansing. Remember to process any secured personal belongings or clothing items in the respective sterilization chambers. Do not access any sealed contents until they have been properly and thoroughly cleansed and inspected for potential contaminants. While there is little definitive published information available regarding optimal shower procedures, the general recommendation shower time is approximately 5 minutes. Despite lack of empirical data, operational procedures deem this time as adequate. Please note that actual showering time will be incident-specific decision, but can range anywhere between 2 to 6 minutes per individual under ideal circumstances. The ultimate responsibility for determining adequate washing time will be left at the discretion of the at the discretion of security administration per station. I have to change out of these clothes first. I should wash up before I get changed. Don't look, chat. That was not 5 minutes, ma'am. Gotta wait for my clothes to finish washing. It's just me now. I guess there's still a couple things around here that might warrant some attention, but hell, right now, all I really want to do is take a shower and go to sleep. The rest of it can be damned at least until tomorrow. I can barely maintain a cognate thought at the moment. Select R's workstation. R's workstation. By morning, there was nothing left. Not on the main drive, nor the aux, nor even the cold box. No entries, no data, no docs, or logs of any kind. Somehow, even her credentials had vanished from the server. Every entry, scan, and login instance. Not a single trace of any record that would indicate she was ever here to begin with, let alone one that could offer the implication of a motivation. And yet, to report her disappearance, a part of it, I must admit, despite how utterly pointless it is at this point, stems from some residual sense of professional reluctance. Knowing how internal will probably construe this, the other greater part of it, though, is that I just don't know what to make of it myself. Given everything that's happened, it's difficult to imagine some greater conspiracy compelling enough to inspire desertion under such conditions beyond simple despair. I find it difficult to blame her. And yet, I still find myself resenting her decision. It's tempting to call it cowardice, but in the end, temptation lies the uncomfortable realization that it's really me who's the coward. And that's my own obstinacy. And if I'm being completely truthful, my own mounting despair. What's the true target of that pathetic accusation? All of this for what? A stray radio wave? Tumbling about in the darkness? It was here before us, it'll probably still be here long after us, and only one of us is left. Maybe she was right after all. Maybe her work here really is done, whether one would admit it or not. It's not too late. There's still time to call in another extraction. Salvage what we were able to accomplish, mourn that which was lost, pack up, turn around, go home. If I could just bury this wretched pride of mine, maybe the best thing I can do at this point is for all of us to live. So there maybe still be a witness. Clothes are done. Nope. Examine board. Interesting. Access workstation. Device register Avery 20378. Device is an ISAC Operation Service Activity Registration government computer system that is for official use only. The system is subject to monitoring. Individuals found performing unauthorized activities are subjected to disciplinary action, including capital prosecution or capital prosecution, or may be subject to forfeiture of rank and or gross incarceration in accordance with Title 8. Select an application below to get started. Activation, a network monitoring interface. Monitor real-time data from paired devices. Sensor network. I think I want to do. A distraction-free plain text. Write a new entry. I have about a million other pressing things. Read stored entries. Entries are ordered from corresponding to have a rhyme with the first entry, case 0 being the first. There are currently 83 entries available. Balmy but not unpleasant. Strong breeze. Oh my god. Do we read all of this? Human disturbance last night upon entry, which render many of our devices and tools unusable. Experienced our first rainfall today, just before sunset. All of us headed outside briefly to get some air. We were out for no more than 10 minutes before it started coming down. The last approximately an hour or so, giving way to an inky, damp darkness. Not much of more than a drizzle, really, but somehow it felt a little bit heavier than that. In regards to the impact of each individual droplets, the drops felt curiously lukewarm as well, although maybe it was just a humidity getting to my head, or it was odd, then I must be imagining things. On that note, troubling discovery. It turns out that the last credentials logged into the system did not belong to M3, but M4, and it's not just a brief, isolated trace either. The paper trail they left behind is, well, prodigious. Prodigious. As in, at least several hundred pages of monitoring incident logs alone backed to the aux drive, like they've been purged at some point. Light fog, the advanced rain, administering. Not exactly my choice in timing. Its central was very insistent. I was able to get the fabricator up. Myself. Weather should be heat. Actually, not as bad. I felt more tired last week. Miss sunrise. Alright, my dailies. Alright. Here I'm in rather an easy mood all morning. I don't think I really slept all that well. Change of pace this afternoon. I ended up replacing tea. It was morning. Apparently, she and Elle came across it yesterday with intent to slowly walk up its length, collecting samples. It took about 5 minutes walking along the cliffside to reach the spot, but supposedly she and T walked nearly 15 the day before along that same path. I suppose it's just a matter of perception and time that goes by faster. One revisits or returns from destination upon first visit, but also I trust her. As though it doesn't. Yeah. Seem to have taken a strange, vaguely shimmering appearance. Maybe I just. I see. A mild drizzle, but the heat and weight of it was really readily palpable. Maybe I was just tired, but I could have sworn, well, that everything seemed to have taken a strange, vaguely shimmery appearance. Not just the sheen of wetness, but certain hazy slickness, that if that makes sense. A little bit gel-like, almost too reflective. Much like the standing water we collected the other day. Return line, return line. For the time being, we've set up a secondary lab in the staging area, separate from the interior one, just to be safe. We're calling it a lab. Feels a bit an editorial embellishment, particularly speaking. It's a folding. Oh, it's a folding table into which we move microscopes and contents. Sample of rainwater got yesterday. Holy moly! This is a novel. Contains missing data. But those expressions finally came to this afternoon while doing the laundry in our studies. There was a concept of isotropic topology. space defined by an utter, utter unilaterality of sensation, whose boundaries are so indistinct, even at the least theoretically altogether absent, that definition becomes impossible. We had encroached upon and become trapped within an isotropic space. Of course, I probably don't mean isotropic in the most literal sense in terms of physical spatiality, although ironically enough, I reckon here the perennial metaphor of the forest hit a bit too close to home, but rather as a kind of psychogeographical description for the sensation of land itself. It's as if no matter where I go or what I do, it feels as if I'm never getting anywhere and that I haven't moved in the slightest. There's no bounce to the place, no exit. For that matter, entrance. There are many odd things to speak of here about the strangest and completely apparent absence of astral bodies. Weird. Hamilton Central's been pressing more on major efforts. Beginning seriously. It suddenly just gets weird. There are many odd things to speak about here, but one of the strangest lack of astral bodies. Though it was a bit strange at first, the virtually no moonlight seemed visible during the nights, but initially I just suspected it was due to some combination of the dense foliage, the subject of cloud coverage. But last night, the ridge, the skies cleared up, particularly heavy rainfall. When we looked up, there was nothing there. I don't mean that any metaphorical or abstract sense either. There was quite literally no moon, no stars in the night sky. It was completely empty, just this almost endless pitch black. I have no idea how this is possible. As the only obvious explanation, light pollution is a non concern this far out. He suggested we could be in some kind of atmospheric refraction effect at work, but even if that was true, what I suspect we all immediately recognized was not. It still defies any comprehensible possibility. Obviously, this complicates things. As it's been almost impossible to navigate in any meaningful capacity by night, but thankfully solar patterns seem to be largely affected, as we can tell. Yeah. I was 11 the first time I saw the desert. I'm sorry, what's going on? I don't like the sudden sound. I think that's just rain outside. I was 11 the first time I saw the desert. It was during a school camping trip. I remember waking up, looking out the window of the train. The world seemed hazy and indistinct. And at that moment, I felt so distinctly and acutely that I was somewhere I did not belong. It was like my entire existence was just suddenly overwhelmed, so utterly eclipsed by the magnitude of the realization that there I was, all of me, my memories and my feelings and my worries and habits and my body, frail and incomplete, somewhere it shouldn't be. At the time, I had no idea there were places on Earth that could look like that. I've been a whole lot of other places since. Some of them far stranger, more alien, far more anathema to my existence. I never really felt that feeling again. You used to it, I think. After a while, everywhere starts feeling the same. Every wilderness a bit less wild. That's the thing. Food is food anywhere. Shelter is shelter. Water is water. Fire is the product of a predetermined reaction, a chemical principle given material form. This world is built upon a set, a very large one to be sure, but ultimately still a finite one, of standardized certainties. Wilderness ends where knowledge begins. But somehow, suddenly, I no longer feel that certainty here. I don't know what it is. There's something about this place that makes me begin to fundamentally doubt the stability of those axioms. Everything just seems slightly off, on such a barely perceivable way to discern the root of any discrepancies or hairline fractures seems a sure exercise in insanity, an erosion of trust in natural principles. I like the, I don't know, I really like the line food is food, shelter is shelter, water is water, fire is the product of predetermined reaction, a chemical principle given material form. This world is built upon a set of very large one, to be sure, but ultimately still a finite one set of standardized certainties. Wilderness ends where knowledge begins. I'm gonna screenshot that. I don't know. It's just good writing. $82. That's corrupt. Okay. radio. I'm not really in the mood to prepare anything now, although I should probably still eat something at the very least. There should be a few bars left in the cabinet. Oh, with the computer. Yeah, we're gonna turn that off. I wonder if I can plug in my device and get the video off of it. Single entries. Can't upload networks offline. Lightweight closed messaging platform. Yeah, I might even look at the data we got. But... Wash hands. A mango apple bar. It'll do quite nicely. I've had enough for now. Rain's back. Inspect your workstation. My workstation. What use it serves anymore, or why even still bother with it, I have no idea, but I found myself returning over and over again to my duties. Even now, checking the emplacements, logging reports, even rereading old ones. I don't know what it is I'm looking for at this point. Maybe just some sign? I don't know. Of what, I'm even less sure. At least I can now admit that there's a certain comfort to it. The rote repetition of routine of it all. Hairline fractures, I guess. Comfort's not the right word. Evidence is what it is. An indication of where things could have gone so fucking wrong. Something with which to indict myself. The possibility that I missed something obvious continues to haunt me, even though I can never find anything to corroborate that suspicion. I don't know, maybe I'm just being dramatic. At the very least, it's way too past the time until extraction arrives. Make it feel like it's still doing something. There's even something left for me still to do. Inspect outer door. These doors, like the rest of the outpost, were designed to withstand every conventional means of force or accidental entry short of maybe a direct orbital strike, in which case there probably wouldn't be much left of anything anyways. If there's consolation left to me at the end of all this, it's that as long as I'm in here, that door is sealed. There's nothing getting in here that doesn't already belong. Mars workstation. By morning, there was nothing left. None of the main drive, the aux, and the cold box. Oh, that's right. Like boxes? Kind of funny that across at least 5 expeditionary efforts over a decade-long period, no less, not a single one of us apparently ever felt bothered enough to tidy up all the random packaging the original equipment and workstation stuff must have come in. To be fair, though, I doubt recycling gets out here too often. Not sure what... Yeah, the thing is like off-center. Watch arm machine. One should never underestimate what a genuine luxury it is to be able to consistently have a clean set of clothes to the ready, especially in such rancid conditions. This was a lesson T and I learned very quickly during our years together, although back then the problems and priorities were reversed. Now that I think about it, I don't think we were able to come to an agreement on which, between the sweat-damp mire of this cursed wood or the polluted scourge of the arids, was the gentler of two hells. I guess the proper answer is that we should be thankful that at least they never sent us up north. Shower stall. For everything else that's gone objectively fucking wrong, at least the shower still runs. It runs hot, sure, but beats the thrill of squatting on a pallet under a fuel can getting trickled with days-old rainwater. I wonder if I go back over this way, it'll line up better. Not really, I can't find anything now. Washer dryer. Yeah, I think all the things are off kilter. Comm station. After all the pretense, it seems like every mission boils down to some minor variation of this, sitting in front of some dumb machine day after day, waiting for a few fickle wavelengths to trickle into range, hoping that one of these days, maybe, somehow, the noise will start resembling something approximately like meaning. What kind of god dwells in such inconsistent and frangible margins of this world, that our best hope is some sort of understanding always invariably seems to bring us to such desolate and cursed places? In pursuit of what? Slivers of a fucking spectrum? Inquiry of this kind no longer seems distinct from the insensate, schizoid stubbornness of insanity. And yet, every night, I keep listening anyways. T's workstation. A bramble of wires, cables, ties, and assorted electrical detritus is strewn across the surface of the table. She was working on some kind of modification to the field receiver before, well, I keep on telling myself that she's still somewhere down there in that basement, that she must have somehow just slipped through the cracks of, I don't even know. I don't fucking get it. One moment she was there, and then the next, it happened so abruptly. Just like with Elle. I'm ashamed to remember that some part of me back then remained skeptical of his account. Having experienced it now firsthand for myself, her relative composure in retrospect seems almost heroic. It might sound callous, but I almost wish she had just died. At least then there'd have been a body to recover. Something to which bear actual witness, a kind of bleak consolation in the obvious finality of it. But instead, all I've been left with is an absence so abject in its refusal to allow definition that I find myself needing to play tricks on myself just to be able to confront it. Conjure up all manners of explanations and speculations that I know to be terminally inadequate. The only way I can think through it is by falling back over and over to simple, stupid reassurances that we've gotten through so much worse in our years together that there's no way this is how I lose her. I tell myself that the observatory is still right there. I can still go back, try to look for her, or at the very least bring her back her stuff instead of letting it rot in that darkness. She would have done the same for me, I know. But if she really was still there somewhere, she would have found a way to contact me by now. I already know it's been too long, and that I'm too late, and there's no more of us now, either. Just me. A double-sided mobile whiteboard, utterly indistinguishable from the kinds you see in any other office setting. I find it difficult to believe that any of our people could have, or would have for that matter, rucked something like this all the way here. Although, who knows, I suppose you can never really be sure these days. More likely than not, one of the CPC teams probably just left here during the evac. Supposedly the first team we sent after they left us told us to just smoke everything they found here that wasn't mission critical. But I guess for whatever reason, they made an exception. Whatever the case, though, it's been unexpectedly useful. I'd hazard a guess our heightened appreciation for it stems more from the improbability of having it been here at all than any particularly astounding intrinsic properties. But I mean, come on, it's just a whiteboard. Who cares? All right, let's keep moving. Bathroom, use the toilet. We already took a shower. Well, it's time for a second shower. That was a decontamination shower. This is a regular shower. While she's showering, it's time to hydrate. All right. So like, it's a bit squishy for my preferences, but hey, I really can't complain. At least there's no stains or smells. Sleeping bath. I could have sworn that ours pad still carried a slight hint of warmth when I stacked it up against the others. Of course, she'd been gone for nearly an entire day by then. Definitely long enough that couldn't have been possible. At that point, though, maybe I was just looking for reasons to fuck myself up. Why didn't I hear her leave? My work's not yet done. Oh, it's the movie The Lighthouse with... Oh, no. Okay, it's not. That's not Willem Dafoe. What? What are we seeing? Wait. Whose hands? Oh, the audio's coming through the game? What now? This one was coming through the system. What now? Whatever. It's all good. would support us all the long day until the shadows lengthen and the evening comes, and the busy world is hushed, and the fever of life is over, and our work is done. Then, in thy mercy, I didn't read that all. I'm sorry.